Ladies and gentlemen, born in September, let me show you an example of your birthstone. This is a cashmere sapphire. They don't even make these anymore. From 1881 to 1887, that's it. This is the quintessential example of what a sapphire looks like. Cornflower blue, velvetly, smooth coloring. So the next time someone asks you what your birthstone is, tell them I am a cashmere sapphire. Discover the value of your story. Increase. So this award lets me know that good morning, Madame, Monsieur, comment allez-vous? Et toi? Ça va très bien. Ni hao, hola, Ohio, bienvenue, Wan Ying, bienvenidos, bienvenita, namaste, and welcome. Welcome to another exciting episode of Gem Hunter Stories. My name is Barry B. Mixon, and I am a Gemmological Storyteller. And each and every week, I have the unique honor and privilege of taking you on an adventure, to tell you stories that you've never heard before, to take you to places you've never seen before. Each week, what I do is I take the art, science, history, and magic of gemstones, precious metals, and fine jewelry, and I put them all together into a story. The whole history of mankind really revolves around gemstones and precious metals, either directly or indirectly. So what I do is I take those gem stories and I use them as a template, as an inception point, as a seed, as a bridge to help people, to empower people, to remind people to take time in your day, in your life, in your week, sometime to look back, to step back and begin to appreciate and discover the value of your own stories, of who you are, of how your energy and your light, how what you are resonates with the light of the people around you, of your environment. I wanted to do this. Mental Health Month is not until May, but as I told you, each week something usually happens in my life that just takes me to the universe just takes me in a certain direction. And last week we were talking about the appreciating the four C's in you. But as most of you know, many of you know, I teach. I teach science and history. And one of my students had asked me about eating disorders. And when I looked it up and did some research, I was like, wow, I had no idea. I mean, I knew about bulimia, I knew about anorexia, but I had no idea. And the thing that got me in looking at these videos, which were really, some were really just heartbreaking when you really think about, they would tell the story of who this person was, male or female, because there's like 10 million people in the world, in the United States, 10 million who have eating disorders. And it's not about being just looking at them. It's just what got me was how they looked at themselves in the mirror and they didn't see anything. It's like they hated their bodies to the point where they hated eating food. We're not talking about, whether you like rubies or sapphires or whether you like gold or platinum. We're talking about food, something that you need to live. Nobody's going to ever sit there and say, hi, I'm a Democrat and I don't have to eat food anymore. Or I'm a Republican and food is just not my thing. I've learned how to eat without food. No, if you are a human being, then you require food. And so to have people who look at themselves and they don't see any beauty, they don't see anything. They don't like who they are. They had quite a few videos where the people were just truly skin and bones. Like there was just a people like this thing just hanging over you. That's all. There's just bones and skin. And she's taking selfies of herself and still doesn't like see it. So again, this show is not about, I'm not a mental health expert or anything like in the psychology field. But what I do talk about is value. What this show is about each and every week is about value. I want people to see in a real way how the whole field of gemology is, to me, so much deeper than just whether this is a sunstone or is this a topaz or is this a turquoise or what's the different qualities and grades. It's deeper than that. And that's the reason why, in my mind, it has existed from the beginning of time or beginning of human history. Thank you, Barbara. So last week we were talking about how to discover and appreciate the four C's in you. We talked about that. Just a quick review for those of you who are new. What this show is about is literally taking gemmological concepts and applying it to us. So last week we were talking about discovering the four C's in you. And you know what the four C's are, right? But before we do that, we have to first establish, are you a gemstone? So we're using real gemmological principles. Are you a gemstone? And there's different four qualities that you have, attributes that you have to be considered a gemstone. So first, we talked about you have to be rare. We already established there's only one you. Look at yourself in the mirror or whatever reflection, turn on your camera and look at yourself. There's only one you. So rarity, 8 billion people, there's only one you. We got that. Then there's beauty. And you have to see the beauty in you. Okay. I mean, you are beautiful. You may not look like what I would want or attracted to or what it look like myself, but you're beautiful. Just like a gemstone. As I say all the time, I know 10 people off the top of my head that do not like rubies. They just don't like rubies. I know people who don't like diamonds. And there's diamonds. Oh my God. So beauty is truly in the eye of the beholder. So if you look at yourself and begin to see something in you that's beautiful, so you're qualified. We're rare, beauty. Then we talk about durability. Durability is, if you're alive today in today's age and you're 30, 40, 50, 60 years old, durability. No, we don't exist as long as gemstones. No, there won't be anyone here that says, I've been here even though my students like to tease me about that. But in real, I've only been here 63 years. What you see is a product of 63 years of living. I think I didn't do too bad. 63 years of living. And whatever your age is, if you've survived, think about all the things you've gone through and survived. You survived. So durability. We talked about that. Just like a gemstone. Durable. Are you durable? Can you take a lick? Can you take how they used to say the Timex commercial? Keep on taking licking and keep on ticking. That's you. Durability. Then let's talk about desirability. There's an old blues song that says, "Nobody loves me but my mama, but she could be jiving too." So that fit my life. If somebody wants you, if somebody finds you not just attractive, but someone likes who you are, someone likes the way you speak, someone likes the way you do your hair. Some people like my handlebar mustache. Some people go, "Oh, why'd you do that?" Okay, but desirable. Somebody likes who you are. Somebody likes your skinny legs, your ears, whatever. Desirability. So once we got that settled, now you understand. So those are the 4 C's. Those are the 4 C's. Take them 30 seconds. 15 seconds. Okay, cool. Now you got that. You qualify, right? So then we talked about what the 4 C's are. So first you're a gemstone, or you qualify as a gemstone. Then we had to talk about the 4 C's. Cut. Cut is who you are. Cut is how you've taken the molecular structure of you and designed it in such a way that maximizes the way the light hits you. And what does that mean in human terms? That means that you went to school. That means you learned a trade. That means you learned something. You've developed. Your father taught you how to change a transmission. Your mother taught you how to throw a fastball. Your mother, and I said it correctly. Your mother. There's a lot of women who are far better athletes than me. So yeah, your mother, your grandmother, your auntie taught you how to throw a fastball or how to throw a block. Okay, in the NFL. So that's your cut. You went to school. You learned a trade. That's your cut. That's who you are. Then we talk about. So there you go. What's your cut? Your color. We live in a world where no, I can't change the color of my skin. This is the color. We talked about this last week. This is my color. Now, what I can do to enhance my color is I can eat right. I can drink green tea. I can hydrate myself. I can change my diet. Things like this. That it will bring out my color. Skin lotion, lotion, things like that. Color. Then there's clarity. And clarity in gemmological terms means that how much, how clear, how does the light penetrate you? That's clarity. But clarity in terms of who you are means how clear are you on who you are as a person? Like, what are your dreams? What are the things you want to do? How clear are you with yourself that you've decided that I'm going to look a certain way? I'm going to grow my hair. I'm going to get this degree and whatever. I'm going to get this job. How clear, how focused, He utilizes, as a man thinketh, he utilizes all his spare time and means, small though they are. That's clarity. That's clarity. That's the direction. So how clear are you on you? When you look at yourself in the mirror, when you do a podcast or you do a presentation in front of your employees and this is what you want to get done, how clear are you within what happens? The music, how do you hear the music of your own heart? Clarity. Then there's carrot. Carrot is weight. Carrot is weight. And you, unlike a gemstone, gemstones never get bigger. They are what they are. And then you have to cut them into a size, into a shape, into it, where you want to maximize the carat weight, but at the same time, what's more important is how the gemstones interact with the light. You can have a huge gemstone, but if it's cut in a certain way with the light, and we talked about this, where the angle of the light goes through, you got all this bleeding. Or you ever have a girlfriend that says, "Girl, I got this diamond. My boyfriend, my man got me this ring. and it's a 2 carat ring, and she's showing you the ring, and you see more clouds, you see more clouds in it than a little bit. Not saying it's bad. It's just something happened. If it was maybe a smaller ring, it could have better maximized the gemstone, or if it was larger. So you get to control your carat. I was not happy. I started really working out because I'm like, nah. We know how many diseases that come, diabetes and all these other diseases, heart disease, come from eating the wrong food. I won't even say too much, the wrong food. So we know that. So I'm just like, nah, I'm 63. I can't go out. I see every day people are gone. Martha Dexter King. I mean, he was my age. 63 years old. Like, what? So, carat. So we got the 4 C's. We got that all together, right? So today we're going to take it to the next step. Now that we have established that, today we're going to take it appreciating the gemstone you are, because that's all I was thinking about when I was seeing those young ladies and the people, male and female, with the eating disorder. It's like, wow. I mean, one girl, just a nice looking young lady. She used to play sports. She played athletics, and somehow or other, watching the internet, she got in her head that she was ugly. That she just got in her head, and I know what that feels like, because all my life, I told you issues with my mom. My mom basically told me I was a rock. So it took me decades to figure out who I am and what I am, and it's only really now that I can look at myself in the mirror and go, oh, okay. You still got a big old waterhead, but it's not bad. So appreciating the gemstone that you are. So again, take a second. Are you a gemstone? Are you a gemstone? You've been watching this show for a while. You should have figured out, what kind of gemstone you are. What are your characteristics? What are your traits? I give you that for a homework assignment every week. Discovering your value. So are you a gemstone or are you a rock? And there's nothing wrong with rocks. There's nothing wrong. That's a beautiful little rock. I like that rock. The way they framed that, the way they took that picture, that's a pretty rock. You got the little, striations and the little elevations, and that's a pretty nice rock. I love that. I mean, when I studied the Zen, those are those Zen peaceful rocks. Those are rocks you use in massage therapy. I have those rocks that I use when I used to do. I had a massage therapy practice. Those are massage therapy rocks. Well, the bottom one is, I don't know how big it is as far as just the weight inside, but it's the 1, 2, 3, the fourth one down. Oh, I would definitely use that in hot stone massage. So are you a gemstone or are you a rock? Rocks have the same minerals that a gemstone has. It's just not organized. It's just not in a repeating fashion. It's all over the place. So that's what a rock is. So are you a gemstone or are you a rock? This is a rock. It's a nice rock. It's a beautiful little black rock, got little shiny things, little white things going on. And if you walk down some streets, especially in Chicago, you would appreciate a rock like that. You walk down the street, male or female, and you got a whole bunch of predators coming with you. All of a sudden, if God gave you a rock in your hand, you're like, okay, let's do this. So in that case, that rock would be a beautiful thing for you. You're like, honey, you're not going to sit there and say, oh, I'm so happy I had my sapphire ring. No, you'd be like, I'm so happy I had a rock because, all right, I had to protect myself. A big old dog. Yeah, you would want a rock. So what we're going to talk about is appreciation. Appreciation. I had this on my board for one of my students. Appreciation, looking at yourself and appreciating that you're here. That you're here. There's so many people. Come on. Think about what's happening just pick a place in the world. You got people going through all kinds of things. I don't even want to get into it because it's like, wow, but appreciating where you are in your life. If you can, and this is coming from someone who was homeless, and man, if you got toilet paper, whew, if you got food to eat, I don't care if it's just peanut butter and jelly. You mean to tell me? See, most people go, "Oh, peanut butter and jelly." I mean, provided you don't have a peanut allergy, except the peanut butter and jelly, ill. Okay, but I'm telling you, when you homeless and you mean to tell me that you got two slices of bread, I'm thinking the way I used to think, and peanut butter, and somebody gives you jelly, whoo, that's a meal. That's a meal. Appreciation of who you are. Look what it took to get you to get to where you are. 63 years. This is the product of 63 years of living. This is the product. Look at yourself in the mirror. You are the product of 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years of living. What have you done? And part of it's not so much what have you done, or you're in the newspaper, or you're famous, for yourself. Appreciating you. So once you've established what kind of gemstone you are, what kind of gemstone you are, how do you, this one looks totally different than this one. It's like, oh my God, look at that. Look at that. It's beautiful. You may not even know what it is. You may not even know what it is. All you see is you just say, wow, wow. Look at that. Look at that. Just imagine giving someone that. That's an inclusion. That's an inclusion. That's something that's not supposed to be in it. It's not part of the molecular structure. But imagine giving someone something like that, and their birthdays in the winter months, and this is, you give them a gemstone with a, like, something that looks like a snowflake in it. Wow. An opal, when you look at it, it's basically just the way the small spaces between microscopic silicon beads are going through the light to create this play of color. And every opal is different. You can have a whole species of opal, and yet everyone is different. That's you. How did the light come through you? How does that manifest? How does that? Are you tall? Are you short? Are you good at math? I met a woman the other day, and she worked at she was at Target. She was at Target, regular store, and somehow we started talking about math. And she was like, "I love math." Oh my God. This woman, she was maybe 25, 26 years old. She was a cashier. And she was just like, she told me the reason why she's the cashier, because she just likes numbers. I was like, wow. It was like she was talking about numbers like people talk about art. Right here, what you see is the protagonist theory. Isn't that how beautiful? I was like, okay. Appreciation. And I told her, I said, "Do you hear what you're saying? Do you understand?" And she said, "I never thought about it like that." She says, "I just like math." Some of us, so many of us are like that. So many of us, when you hear their story, and I'm a Toastmaster, and when I hear the speeches or the stories of people, I just sit there and go, my God, I didn't know. I didn't know you could do that. I didn't know you knew this person. Good friend of mine the other day, Carl Brown. Hey, Carl, from New York, back in, when I lived in New York, Jamaica Heights. Carl Brown had a picture of him with Lena Horne. And I was like, my first thought was, you know Lena Horne? You met Lena Horne? Oh, well, he was a little boy, but he met, wow. I've known Carl since I was, 13 years old. I didn't know that. I didn't know he traveled in those circles. Just like I knew Malcolm X, I knew Martin Luther King, Adam Clayton Powell used to come to my house all the time. All the time. He was Uncle Powell, Uncle Adam. He wasn't my real uncle, but my grandmother was connected. So here is a historic figure in the United States government. He was the first black congressman. And I knew him. So like, hey, you got to appreciate, you got to see what you are. That brown gem, that's a brown diamond, guys. That's a brown diamond. That's a chocolate diamond. A chocolate diamond. I would love, I mean, if someone said, Barry, you know what? You remind me of a chocolate diamond. How can I not feel like, wow, wow, thank you. Merci beaucoup. Yeah, a chocolate diamond. And some people may not like that. Some people say, oh, no, I don't want a chocolate. I want a clip. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. But there's a whole bunch of people that like chocolate diamonds. And while we had I mean, look at the color. Those of you who love purple, look at that. Oh my God. And what you have to understand is that's not how it looked when they first found it. It didn't look like that. And in fact, you can't see it, but there's inclusions right here. There's inclusions right here. But that's not what you saw when you saw that. All you saw was that beautifully cut, elegant, magnificent, purple and dark. You saw that. You have to appreciate that in yourself. Some of y'all are like that. Some of you out there watching the show right now, your energy, your who you are, your eyes, your body, the way you think, the way you see the world is like that. No different. No difference. You are a gemstone. You are a gemstone. There's what 6,000, the International Mineral Association. I think there's 6,000 minerals in the world. Gemmologists, we don't have to study that many, obviously, thank God. but they all have their own individual characteristics. They all have the things that make them unique and special. That's what we, as a gemologist, that's what we do. We spend our lives studying all the different things about gemstones. So let me help you today. Let me newsflash. Let me have a Cat Williams moment. Inclusions. People talk about inclusions like, oh, I don't want that inclusion. I always love when people tell, oh, well, I have a VVS1. So, like, you could tell the difference. Like, you could look at it and just tell the difference. No, you develop an inclusion based on whether or not you can see it in a 10 power loop. If I can't look at this 10 power loop and see it, the inclusion clearly, when I look at that loop and I loop it, if I can't see it, then that's how you qualify. Does it mean that it doesn't have any inclusions? No. If I use my microscope, you would see it. If I use my microscope, I would see inclusion that I would not see possibly with the 10 power loop. So let me help you with that and get you to understand that inclusions are not bad. They're not. They're not bad. They're not some horrible thing. There are an identifying characteristics. Look at this gemstone. Look at all the things that's going on here. Those are inclusions. And if you had this beautiful green stone, you would love it. You would say, oh, wow, because it's different. It's unique. I remember think about all the people that you looked at first and you thought, oh, that's weird. Or, oh, that's true. I remember when I first looked at Prince, I was just like, who is this little short guy with the old, big wedge heels on and everything else? And once I found out who Prince was, I was like, oh my God, this brother can pull off anything. He can wear eye makeup and everything else and just be like Prince. Think about it. Think about it. Those things that made him special, the way he grew up, whatever it was, created who he was as a person. One of my heroes, Darth Vader. Who's the voice of Darth Vader? The voice of Darth Vader is James Earl Jones. James Earl Jones was a stutterer. A stutterer. Here's a man I love for 45 years. I've loved, don't be too proud of this technological terror. That was a voice from a man that was a stutterer. Oh my God. That's an inclusion. That's who he is. And he changed it. He developed it. He elevated it. Look at this. This is just quartz. You got solid inclusions. You got a liquid bubble inclusion. You got gas. Dude, this is actually another mineral in this. So all this stuff that's inside of this stone, and yet how beautiful. Someone decided to facet it and bring out and elevate not only just the transparency of the stone, but the inclusion. And that's what makes it beautiful. That's you. That's you. Making that decision in your mind that the things that make you special, sometimes the things that someone told you that you were, and that they looked at it as a bad thing. Now you're like, man, that's the best thing that ever happened to me. Those who watch the show, I never talk about my ex-wife, because even though what she told me was an insult to her, I'm like, thank you, Jesus. God brought her in my life to tell me, you talk a lot. Oh my God, you talk so much. And if I saw her today, I'd be like, you know what? Thank you. Thank you. Because she made me appreciate who I was. She made me look at myself and see what made me different. These are crystals. This is not what this gemstone is supposed to look like if it didn't have that in it. But if it didn't have that in it, what would make it different? What would make it unique? And if you are that gemstone, then that's what makes you unique. Girl, I love just the way the strands flow through you. Guys, you'd be like, man, I love just how, whatever. The inclusions. So inclusions are not bad. They are who you are. Someone asked me, I was doing a speech a couple of weeks ago, and someone said, were you supposed to be homeless? Or do I think that homelessness helped me? Hell yeah. Was it the worst experience in my life? Absolutely. Oh my God. I would never recommend to somebody if someone said to me, Barry, I'm not, my life is messed up. Well, know what you should do? You should be homeless. No, no. That was a horrible experience. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. It's cold as hell in Chicago right now for the last week or so. I used to be out there in that. But did it change me as a person? The inclusions that got me to that point, how I was inside, the things that was inside of me, I had to make a choice on what was I going to do with it. Was this going to be my life? Once you've discovered that you are a gemstone, you have to ask yourself, what are you going to do? How are you going to not cut yourself, but how are you going to develop yourself, facet yourself, put yourself together in such a way where you maximize the light? Or put yourself in an environment that does. You know what this is? You know what this is? This is the diamond. Uh-huh. This is a salt and pepper diamond. This is the new marketing, and this is the reason why we have such a hard time with the This is marketing. This is called the salt and pepper diamond. The salt is the clear inclusions, and the pepper are the dark inclusions. And once upon a time, when I first started 20 years ago, this wouldn't even been a gemstone. I mean, it was a gemstone in the sense that it was a diamond, but this would have been on the tip of somebody's power drill. This wouldn't have been a gemstone. Never, ever. Salt and pepper. Oh my God. This is because you can literally see it. This is not even an eye. This is like an I6. There's no such thing classification as an I6, but that's what this would be. If F is flawless, IF is internally, you got VVS 1 and 2, very, very slightly included, but very slightly included, SI, then you got I's included. This is like unbelievable included. You don't even need, you like, oh, I don't need this. I don't need a loop. I can look at it. And they sell it as salt and pepper diamonds. And people are buying it. People like this because it's different. So And if someone gave you this gemstone because they loved you, they gave it to you because it represents the salt and pepper represents the challenges that you've both had to go through in your relationship. You know, it talked about the ups and the downs, the light moments and the dark moments, whatever. If someone gave it to me and told me a story, Barry, this reminds me of you. And I was like, why? Because you tell me that you're a gray Jedi, that you believe in the light and the dark side of the force. It would resonate with me. I just think, oh, wow, that was nice. Thank you. Thank you so much. What changed? The gemstone didn't change. This gemstone took millions of years to develop. Your mind changed. The way you looked at it changed. Some of you are looking at it right now. Some of you, this is the first time you've ever seen a salt and pepper diamond. Some of you are like, wow, I like that. Write me a comment if you like this. If you dislike, wow, you never saw it before. Send me a comment if you never saw this before and you liked it. So, another thing, inclusion is not bad. And please understand that treatments, every gemstone that you have seen in your life, unless it's in some kind of museum or you know somebody who's like stupid rich, has been treated. 90, 95%, and depending on some gemstones, 99% of all gemstones that you have ever seen in your life has had a treatment to it. Emeralds. Oh my God, emeralds. When I talk about appreciating the value of who you are, emeralds on a gemmological concept got all kinds of inclusions. Most emeralds you see are included. And when you get an emerald, these are some of the treatments that an emerald go. You got surface coating, you got clarity enhancements, you got dyeing, you got irradiation. And for those of you who forgot your 7th and 8th grade science, irradiation is where they put a gemstone in some type of a cylinder or machine, and they hit it with nuclear radiation, atomic radiation. That's what irradiation is. Thermal enhancing, meaning they heat it to 2, 3, 4, 500 degrees to bring out to neutralize the blue of it and to bring out the green. That's an emerald. That emerald that you see, those you born in May, that's an emerald. But yet you love it. You love it. You appreciate what it is. Think about that for a second. We'll continue on when we come back from the other side. Thank you. Thank you, Barbara. Love yourself. Love yourself. Love who you are. Love the emerald that you are. Yeah, you had to get treatments. Yep, sure did. You're in good you're in good if you had to go ahead and change your diet, okay. If you had to go back to school because you realized that you didn't know how to do something, okay. I had to go back to school. I was terrible at math. Math was like, oh my God, if whatever day it was, I was gonna fail. Whatever day the test came on, I was gonna fail. And in my mind, if it was raining on the day that I was supposed to take a math test, I was guaranteed to fail. I don't know where I got that from. I don't know where I got that from. That's an emerald. All that stuff is inclusions. That's because where it was born, where it was created, how it was formed, those are the things that happen. And the reason why you notice that there's a cut called the emerald cut. Why? Because emeralds have so many inclusions in it and they're brittle. They make it brittle. They make it not a strong, really durable stone. So they have to have a setting around it to protect it. That's why the emerald cut. That's why it's cut like that. that step cut, because it will maximize the beauty of the emerald, but at the same time, respect what's going on inside. We deal in a world where a lot of people have mental illness. A lot of people have mental illness. A lot of people have mental illness, and on all kinds of levels. A lot of people grew up thinking that they were a rock because they were told that by not just some strangers, by their mother, by their father, by their uncle. There's so many people who have been touched and molested and raped and treated like, just, we know this. Those are your inclusions. You had a bad teacher in school. You didn't like, you knew that you liked science, but because science, so many of my students come to me because they weren't getting what they wanted from their science teacher or history teacher in the school. So they come to me like, man, can you make this fun for my son, my daughter? That's what the parents say. So I have to take who they are inside, their inclusions, who they are. And again, it's a characteristic of who they are. It's not a bad thing. I can't live this life every day for the rest of my life. I will always be someone who has experienced homelessness, period. That thought will never come to my mind, leave my mind. No matter what I do, all this, no, I'm nowhere near what I was before. But once upon a time, I was. Do I still have issues? Hell yeah. I deal with them every day. Inclusions. Look at it. Look at it. Someone kept this a rough stone just because looks how beautiful it looks, like a forest. The inclusions it makes it look like it's a forest. They didn't even bother cut it into a size where you can wear it look at it. The inclusions is what makes it what it is. Tell me someone in history who has not gone through some sugar honey iced tea. Tell me. Put it in the comments. Tell me some. No, I was going to say Jesus. No, wrong. Hello? Excuse me. How many people here has been hung up on a cross? Raise your hand. What's your name, sir? I'm Jesus. Oh, okay. Thanks. We all have inclusions inside of us. And we have to appreciate who we are. Look at this. Beautiful. This ring is, I think this ring was something like $80,000. Look at all the inclusions inside. Someone had to cut this in such a way where it maximized the color, and yet the inclusions are there. They didn't take the inclusion, maybe it probably was treated in some kind of way to minimize or to enhance, but not let the inclusions take over, not let the color take over, where there's a blending. That's what we have to do. That's what we have to do. It's kind of like, how you look at someone who's tall and you just automatically assume that they play basketball because they're tall. That's not what they are. They made some people are tall and they hate basketball. They hate it because everybody thought that that's what they should play and they didn't like basketball. Yeah. Inclusions. Every last one of these emeralds are different. And if someone had, ladies, if you had this crown, imagine waking up in the morning and before you go to work, you put the crown on your head. The last thing you're thinking about, if ever, is that, how many inclusions this one has? No. You appreciate what it is. You appreciate what it is. You appreciate that is a emerald, and because you know how rare it is, because you know how beautiful it is. This is not even cut. With all the stuff going on inside of it, somebody, if it does get cut, someone will have to look at all the inclusions in and say, what are we going to do? And that person may have been your mother, that person might have been your father, that person might have been a coach, that person might have been a teacher. I've had a whole bunch of people just looked at me like, what are we gonna do with you? And I thank God for all of them. I thank God. Yeah. Inclusions. Yeah. What are you gonna do with all this up top? What are you gonna do with this matrix stuff on the top? What are you gonna do with the discoloration that's in the middle? You got light. What are you gonna do with that? That's how that emerald grew. Inclusions. Look at this emerald. Inclusions. You said. But there was nobody would ever, if someone got this emerald, if someone got this, I think there's like 5 carat emerald, which emeralds don't become really, really big. Okay, when the emeralds are usually not that large. Okay, or they could be a little larger, but still, yeah. You got a 5 carat emerald, yeah, of this quality, yeah, and it's probably been treated. It's probably been enhanced. Yes, pearls. I love pearls. I love pearls. I have a whole separate certification degree in pearls. Love pearls. Pearls are treated. Look at this. Pearls are treated. Yes, they come from oysters. Yes, they're grown and everything. They are treated. These are all the things that you have to do to a pearl. Oil, oiling, dyeing, chemical bleaching, irradiation, same nuclear but filling to make a pearl. So when you see that pearl, when you see it, it doesn't look like that just coming out like going to Walgreens or Walmart and you just say, "Hey, honey, you want a pearl?" And it just opens up and voila. You got to do something with that. Yeah. Are there perfect pearls? Yes. But come on. Come on. Are there perfect looking people? Yeah. There's a whole bunch of models and actors and actresses and just people that might live down the street that just look at it and you go, wow. But we all know people who have died, who have killed themselves, who have to because they didn't see what you saw. There's a woman that's from I forgot Lincoln University. I don't want to mess up her name. Beautiful African American woman. When I first looked at her, I was like, oh wow, bald head, everything else. And then I read the article, and she killed herself. She killed herself, and I was just thinking, what was and one of my I won't say friends, one of my former colleagues knew her, went to school with her, or took a class with her. She had pictures of her and this woman. And when you look at this woman, you would have never thought that this woman would take her own life. Like what was going on inside of her that made her say, you know what? The end is what I want. I think of Robin Williams all the time. Like he made the whole world laugh, and yet he couldn't make himself laugh. You have to appreciate the gemstone that you are. None of us may look, someone had to match all these together to make this strand of pearls. Someone had to match them all together. The treatments, the oiling, the dyeing, the chemical bleaching, someone had to put this all together and match it. So this is extremely rare. But it doesn't mean that you're not a pearl because you don't look like this. That doesn't mean that you're a pearl because you're not bright and shiny like this. Good morning. No, because that's not your environment. You didn't grow up like that. But are you a pearl? Yeah. 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 You're a pearl. Think about how pearls develop. Pearls develop because from pain. Understand that pearls come from pain. Either if they're natural, you had a parasite or a bacterial infection going into the sex organs of the pearls. Think UTI, ladies. UTI. Think, I guess for guys, guys can have UTIs too, but think kidney stones, guys. It came from that. The pearl, the oyster protected itself from pain. Pain. Every one of this. Pain, 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 pain. All of these were pain. If there was cultured pearls, that means someone had to surgically, they let the the oyster grow to about middle age, let's say. Then they had to, yeah, Phyllis Hyman, exactly, Phyllis Hyman, Phyllis Hyman. She sung all those beautiful songs, and you knew you can hear the sadness inside of her, and she eventually did something about it. So, cultured pearls, you have to grow the pearl up to about teenagers in oyster ear. Then you have to crack open the oyster, run water through it so it's still living, and then surgically implant something foreign into the sex organs of that pearl, and then close it back up again and hope it grows, hope it survives to create a pearl. Marine Corps boot camp was hell. Anybody who's a Marine, raise your hand. There was one thing we all shared. No one left Marine Corps boot camp saying, that was great. I can't wait to go back again. You know what I really love? I love the way the drill instructor just poured air detergent in my eyes. Oh, that was so much fun. I mean, I thought I was going to go blind, but no, no one said that. You know how they say, no one said that ever. Said by no one, never. Pearl. That's the pain. That's the product, the result of a bacterial infection, of a parasite, or of a surgical intervention. That's a pearl. That's what that is. Yeah. Beautiful. And yet, as a result of the pain that it endured, this is the result of that. How many of you gone through pain and you don't see it in their faces? You don't see it. How many people we know that are beautiful inside? And when you hear their story, I remember when Barbara first told me her story, I'm like, what? You can't, are you serious? Yeah, because that's not what you see. All you see is this when you see her. A pearl. Then you got spinel. Then you got gemstones that are awesome. They're awesome and nobody really knows about. Nobody really appreciates who they are. Spinel. Spinel is like the unsung hero, one of the unsung heroes in the gemstone. Spinel is an awesome gemstone. Spinel comes in about, everybody thinks it's spinel in this color. Spinel comes in almost every color of the rainbow. Really does. The only one that comes close to this probably is tourmaline. Every color of the rainbow. There's even so when most people think about spinel, they think, oh, that's a ruby. Oh, that's a ruby. It's not a ruby. It's spinel. Does it have the same hardness of a ruby? No. A spinel is an 8, and a ruby and a sapphire are 9s. Okay. Spinel comes out, doesn't have something. Here's a blue. Here's a blue greenish spinel. And if you don't appreciate, spinel is an extreme brittle. I mean, rubies and sapphire, they have what's called cleavage, meaning you can hit them and break them. Not spinel. Not saying it's indestructible, but it's a whole lot tougher than a ruby. But yet everybody talks about rubies. And you talk about being the stepchild. This is a spinel, guys. This is the royal crown, the imperial crown of the Russian Empire. That's a spinel at top. And for God knows, hundreds of years, people think, that's a ruby. It wasn't until much later, that's not a ruby. That's a spinel. Some of you about ready to go to work or at work right now or listening to my show, and inside of who you are, and people, you're a spinel, but people treat you like you're not valuable, but you know who you are. You got to know who you are. You got to appreciate that you're a spinel. And if a spinel could talk, a spinel would be like, okay, yeah, I'm a spinel. All y'all talking about is rubies. I know who I am. You know who I know I am? Because guess what? The Queen of England is wearing me every time she has one of those big ceremonies. This is the imperial crown of the British Empire. This is the imperial crown. The one. That big red stone that people thought for like centuries it was a ruby. In fact, it's called the Black Knight Ruby. It ain't a ruby, guys. It's a spinel. It's a spinel. So if that was a living person, that spinel would have to know who he or she is. despite everyone saying, I really love rubies. Rubies are just better. If you don't know, if I gave you that stone and I said, here, honey, here's this stone, you would trip. And if I let you think it was a ruby at first, and then I said, well, baby, it's a spinel, you'd be like, it's gorgeous. And then we talk about corundum. Here's corundum. Corundum is a ruby or sapphire. These are all the treatments that a corundum gets. All of them, sapphires and rubies. They have to get clarity enhancements. They get two kinds of thermal enhancement. One for color, one for the inclusions. Then you got radiation, you got dyeing, you got surface coating. 90% are rubies are treated. But yet we don't pay no attention. This is the ruby. This is a ruby. What were the things that they had to do to get there? And when you look at that, do you really see like a huge difference between a spinel and a ruby? Here's a ruby. Here's a ruby. That ruby is proud of what that ruby is. We all know that that's not what it looked like in the beginning. But with the treatments, with everything put together, it became that. You have to appreciate. That's what we're talking about today. Appreciation. Appreciation of the gemstone that you are, the person that you are, the years that you've gone to school, the things that, or you didn't go to school, the things you learned to work, the things that you know, the things that you learned, the things that you read, the things that you could put together in your mind. All those things is what the gemstone that you are. Thank you, Barbara. And what you have to do is appreciate the value of your story, just like a gemstone. Just like a gemstone. If you're a ruby, an emerald, a sapphire, a diamond, a tourmaline, a topaz, opal, so many, jade. I always think of jade, the stone of heaven. Really? And so if you don't like green and someone gave you a stone that said, this is the stone of heaven, I want to see you going, oh no, I don't want this. Here you go. You would appreciate it. So just because everybody doesn't talk about jade all the time doesn't mean it doesn't have value. So that's your homework assignment today. Just take a moment, take some time to think about what is your value? What kind of gemstone you are. Now that we've established that, what value do you bring? How does the light hit you? What are you doing that's just different? Not so much everybody knows about you. It's different to you. You can sing, you can dance, you have a funny way of making jokes. You can, there's ways you organize stuff that nobody else can do. That woman in Target that says, I love math. I'm a cashier because I love math. And I thought she made being a cashier like just, it was such an honorable profession the way she talked about it. Like, I get to count money and do this every day. And I'm like, wow. Excuse me, then you guys are hiring cashiers? I want to feel like she feels. So I hope you got something out of today. Please subscribe. Please comment. Let me know if there's things that I'm wrong or you want to take it a different way on my website right there, gemhunterstories@gmail.com. And again, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to talk about this. Thank you for allowing me to appreciate myself. Thank you for all of you, Barbara, so many people who have been in my life to have helped me appreciate the light that comes from inside of me. All this show is about is I want to take that and help other people discover the value of who they are. So again, my name is Barry B. Mixon. I am a Gemmological Storyteller. And what I want you to do is discover the value of your own stories. So until next week, au revoir, à te tella, voilà. Of all the the pearls on the market today are actually cultured pearls? Yeah, that's right. Natural pearls are extremely rare. So if you have one, your grandmother said that she got one from way, way back, give me a call. Discover the value of your story.